Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I have 5 spooky tumbling tower block DIYs. For this DIY you need 34 tumbling tower blocks and some wood glue. I'm gluing 3 tower blocks end to end and I'm going to do this twice. Next, I glue together 4 tower blocks end to end and I make 2 sets of these. Then I make 4 sets of 5 tower blocks glued end to end. So I'm making a frame and I need the 2 sets of 3 tower blocks and I stand them on their side, and one's at the top, one's at the bottom, and then the set of 4 tower blocks are laying flat at the top and the bottom, and then one set of the 5 tower blocks will be on its side on the inside of the frame, and then the outside will be laying flat, and then the same on the other side. So I'm just going to glue all the pieces together, and I like this wood glue, but if you have one that you prefer then use that. I wouldn't use hot glue for gluing together tower blocks because it doesn't last, and if you want to stain the blocks, the hot glue doesn't stay together, doesn't hold together when you stain it. I have a wee helper. So I'm just using some apple barrel black acrylic paint. You could use chalk paint or spray paint for this. And you could wait until you attach these bones and then paint afterwards. But I wanted to show you I wanted to see myself what it looked like if I didn't paint the bones. So these wee bones are from Dollar Tree, and I'm just arranging them how I want them to go around my frame before I glue them down. And I have Romy keeps stealing them. So I'm just using hot glue to glue them down. You can use something stronger if you want. I had to go put her down because she kept touching the stuff. So I'm just going to glue the rest of them down. Now you could paint these bones white if you wanted, if you don't like this colour. I'm going to paint them black, as you'll see in the next clip. So I wouldn't recommend using the black acrylic paint for this because it did keep chipping off and I had to keep touching it up. And this scrapbook paper I will link down below. I got it on Amazon. I used this last year, so I wanted to use up the rest because I think that picture is so pretty. I'm just marking off where I'm going to cut it, and then I'm just going to cut it with some scissors. So I'm just checking if I needed to keep those bits on it, but I'm just going to cut them off because it was wide enough. Now I'm just going to hot glue this to the frame, but you could put it on some cardboard or some foam board or something to make the back stronger, but I'm just going to hang this up in my craft room, so it doesn't really matter. And I was thinking about putting a twine hanger on it, but I decided to use one of these sawtooth hangers, and the wee nails screws are a wee bit fiddly, and I couldn't get them to go right in with a screwdriver, so I had to go get a bigger one. The wee set of screwdrivers is from Dollar Tree, and I actually think the big one is from there too. And this is how it turned out, and I love this. It was I think it's my favourite DIY. I don't know. I can't decide. It's really hard for this video. Definitely going to keep this hanging up all year round in my craft room. You need 50 tower blocks for this DIY and some wood glue. So for this DIY, I'm gluing together 3 rows of 8 blocks. And I like to glue them like this. Well, actually, I lay them out first and see that they're going to fit and make a nice... Most of the blocks are the same size. And then I glue them together. You can do 3 rows of 8 and glue them, and then try and glue them all together at the end, the 3 sections together at the end, but you don't get as good a fit. So now I am just gluing tower blocks all the way around, and I'm gluing these ones standing on their side. And then if there's one that doesn't fit, it's not long enough, or it's too wide, then you can just switch it out for another one. And now I'm gluing some blocks all around the outside, and I'm laying these flat. So the ends at the top and the bottom there, they're just like a couple of millimeters too short. So don't worry about that, because you won't even notice that once you put the bones on. Or you could do something else with this. You don't have to make these DIYs, Halloween DIYs. You can always stain them or put something else on them instead of bones. So I'm just gluing 4 half beads to the bottom. Also, if you wanted, you could make the first DIY like this, so that you'd have a hard back, and then you could just stick your scrapbook paper onto that. And I'm just painting it with the same black acrylic paint as I did before. And I have my wee helper. I'm using more of those bones from Dollar Tree. And someone's trying to steal them. So I'm just fitting them all the way around. So this is going to be a riser. And if you didn't want to use bones, you could always use some of the ribbon from Dollar Tree, even not Halloween ribbon, if you wanted to make this for another occasion. Obviously I would have these for every day. But you could put ribbon around the edge, or you could put half beads. There's lots of different options that you have. So I was just touching up a bit that I forgot to paint. Well, not touching up, I was painting it. And then I'm just gluing the bones on. Again, you don't have to use hot glue. You could always use a different glue. I think she knows I'm recording. She's gonna get her hand in. And then I'm just painting over it. But I wouldn't use this paint for painting the bones, because it kept coming off. And you can always just spray paint this once you stick the bones on. I think that probably work better. Also, if you wanted to, you could dry brush over the bones, or use some rub and buff or something and make them stand out. And this is how it turned out, and I love how this one turned out as well. You only need 22 tower blocks for this DIY and some wood glue. And I'm just going to glue together 8 tower blocks to make a square. And then I glue together 12 tower blocks, 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. And then I'm going to glue the square on top of this. But I decided to turn it around before it was dry. Make sure yours is dry, because I wanted the flat side that was on the bottom to be on the front of the picture, because I'm going to glue stuff to it. And now I am just gluing another 2 tower blocks on the bottom because I want it to stand up by itself. And then I just paint it black. And I'm using these bones again, so I decide to set them out around them like this, and then I'm just hot gluing them in place. Something weird came out of my hot glue there. It was like brown, I don't know what it was. And then I'm just using my hot knife to cut the back of the skull off, so that it will sit flat in the middle of the picture. And then just using a nail file to file off the rough edges, and also there's a seam down the middle of the skull, so I'm just filing that down a wee bit, and then I'm just hot gluing that in the middle. Then I was deciding if I was going to put these bones in there. So I decided I would paint it without those bones to see what it looks like first and see if I want to add them in. I was just taking off some excess hot glue. So, I didn't say that I had to give all the bones 2 coats of paint. But I've used chalk paint, probably only need 1 coat. So I decided that I wanted to put the bones in it, and I put them all going in the same direction, of the opposite direction of the big bones on the outside. And I had to do them standing up on their side as well to make them fit, and then I just painted over them. And I love this one too. It's perfect for a shelf filler or a tier tray. You need exactly 1 box of tower blocks for this DIY, that's 72, and some wood glue. And I'm making 2 of these squares like I did in the last DIY. Then I'm gluing together 12 blocks, and I make 2 sets of these. So I'm gluing one of the squares to one set of the 12 blocks, and then I'm putting 4 half beads on the bottom, and that's going to be the base. And then for the top I just placed the square on and turned it over so I could make sure it was placed properly with the same amount of space on each side, and then I'm going to glue 4 tower blocks in the middle of that to the bottom piece, but not the square. I'm not going to glue that yet. And then I made 8 sets of 4 tower blocks, glued end to end, and now I'm going to glue them to the base. And I'm just gluing them in the corners like this, so that the edges are touching. And once I have all those in place, I then glue that other square on the top, and then I make sure all the tower blocks are in the right place, so they're not sticking out at the sides or in the middle. And then I just painted everything black. I should have gave all these DIYs 2 coats of paint, but I only had time for 1. So if you wanted, this would be a nice, cute, simple lantern. You could also do other things with it. You don't have to put bones on it. So I have another one of these skulls, and I'm just hot gluing it to the top. And that's going to be how you pick up the lid. And I forgot, I need to file down that wee seam. I wish they made them without that seam. And then I'm just finding which side I wanted to be the front. For some reason I thought I was going to fit the 2 big bones in there, but I didn't. So I was figuring out something else I was going to do. And then I decided I wasn't going to use the wee skulls. I decided to put a half bead in the middle to fill up that space. And then I just hot glued everything down. And then I did this for the other side as well. And I just made sure I got rid of as much of the excess hot glue that I could. So I thought the top was a bit plain, so I decided to add a smaller half bead on each of the corners, and then I'm going to glue these other bones in between those half beads, and I'm going to do them all facing in the same direction. And then I just paint over all the bones and the skull. And I love how this turned out as well. This is the kind of decor I like. Black, spooky skulls. I like the DIYs I make on my channel, but this is the kind of stuff I really like, that I would love to make all the time, not just Halloween. For this DIY I need 2 boxes because you need 124 blocks, and some wood glue. And I made 8 sets of 4 tower blocks glued end to end, and 4 sets of 12 tower blocks. And then I glued a tower block to each end of these sets of 12, and I glued it standing on its side. And then I'm going to glue those other pieces. See here, I made a mistake because I wanted it to see, I've made a mistake there too. Yeah, I want it to sit like this, so I turned it upside down to glue those pieces on, and then glue them in the right place then. And now I am gluing another square. So you need 2 squares, same as the ones in the previous DIYs, just need 8 tower blocks for each of them. And then you need 2 squares with 12 blocks each. So I am gluing, or I flipped them over, I'm gluing 1 square like that, and then the other one I'm gluing it on the top. So that one, the last one I did, that's the base, and then I'm just gluing these in place right to the edge of the top piece there that has the 12 tower blocks on it. So you want the edges of each of these to touch, so that there's no gaps. And then I put glue on the top, and then put that on the top piece on the top. Oh my god. And then I put something heavy on it till it's the glue set. So these pack of 4 skeletons are from Dollar Tree. I think they have them every year. So I'm just cutting them off, and then I'm cutting off the little plastic hoop on the top that has the twine on it. And then I am just going to paint these on both sides and inside the rib cage. You probably don't need to paint the back of them, but I just wanted to paint the whole thing. I also painted the tower blocks as well. So now I am just hot gluing these inside, and I wanted this to be like kind of like a mausoleum or something. I glue one on each side, and then I'm going to paint them again. And I actually think they need a 3rd coat of paint. I might go buy some chalk paint and then paint over this stuff and see if it stops chipping off. And also, when you see in the next clips, when I have the light shining on them, I can see bits of paint I missed. But I did do these in a hurry. I actually didn't put this one together as well as I should have, so take your time with it and don't rush. But I do love how it turned out. I definitely will give it another coat of paint. So this is what it looks like if you make it a candle holder. And then I will show you what it looks like if you put a wee plant on the top. Here it is with the plant. I think this is how I will keep it. But let me know what you think of these DIYs in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. See you next video. Bye.